So it's been a while, guys. It's literally been a few months. Hi to everyone who's been waiting for a new video. Welcome back. I'm back. And I just wanted to give you guys like a little life update on what's been happening since, the last video. As some of you may or may not know, I entered Miss Africa Perth and I won on the 28th of April. So that was really exciting. But I thought I'd do a little video to kind of let you guys know why I wanted to join and yeah, what the process was like for me, and now being Miss Africa, how it is. So you're going to be seeing little videos here and there from like the journey and like just little things, and yeah, just telling you guys about what it was like.
Whatever you want. And fish.
So I remember like I always wanted to join Miss Africa, but I thought to myself, I don't just want to go up there and just like do modeling and all that stuff. Like I said to myself, like it would be great to go and do like dress up, because how fun would that be, and go on the catwalk. But then what if I win? And like, am I ready to win? And so I told myself, nah, I won't do it. And so like I kept putting it off for a little bit, and then Shiko would always message me every year, hey, you gonna sign up this year? And I was like, nah, I don't think so. But then then I remember this year or last year, the auditions were coming up, and I was like, wow, okay, I really feel like, I've started temples. I kind of have a foundation for something that I'd want to follow through if I was to win. So then last year they had the auditions in November, and that was also my final semester of my bachelor's, which I graduated from. Hey, when it was the audition time, it was also the same week as my final assessment, and I was like, there is no way that I can do that final assessment, go to auditions, and then actually come home and finish that assessment and submit it. I just don't think I can do it. And then when we had a conference, so our church went to Voice of Hope, and we went there, and I remember the night before I was like, I'm going to apply for Miss Africa, and I'm going to send in the application form. But then I really sat and I was like, no, I can't do it. And so I went to bed that night and I said, you know what, God, we're going to a conference tomorrow. If you want me to join, like, you just got to give me that push, give me that confirmation, and I'll do it. Like, if you want me to do it and you think that I can do it, then just give me something, because I need something. And so we went to church that day. I remember afterwards the pastor preached a powerful message, and then afterwards he called up anybody that needed prayer, and I was like, this is it, God, like, I'm going up. So I went up, and he just prayed for me. I can't remember it word for word, but I remember him saying something like, the path that God has for you is big, and people are going to look at you and wonder why this girl is doing what she's doing. And I was like, okay, that's it, that's all I need. So I knew when I got home that day I was going to apply. So I got home, sitting down on the table with my mom, and I was like, I'm going to do it. So I submitted the application, which it took quite a few attempts, because every time I kept doing it, something went wrong with my browser, and I was like, is this a sign, God? But like, I was like, I know I have to do it. So then I auditioned. I did the application form and waited a few months, and then I got the text message, from Casa, check your inbox, like, we've sent you a mail. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. And so sorry, and I was like, all right, now I can go to the auditions. Mind you, I'd never done modeling before, and I'd never walked on a catwalk or done any runway things. So, and I couldn't really walk in heels, in all honesty, because I'm quite tall. I never really wanted to wear heels anyway, because I'm like, I'm tall already, and if I wear heels I'll be even taller than everyone else in the room. And those were my own insecurities. But doing Miss Africa really taught me, like, girl, if you want to walk, you better put them heels on. And I'm not talking any type of heel, I'm talking the stilettos, those thin heel, and which were the ones I used to run away from. And so it really taught me that, and how to walk in heels, but also leadership skills and how to bond with other people, and just take pride in my culture, I think. And so that was really great. And so yeah, after doing the auditions, I ended up getting in. I was like, so exciting. So met all the other girls, and every Saturday we'd go for practice. And it was in practices that I started to realize I had insecurities that I didn't realize I had, which number one was comparison. All my life I've been comparing myself to people, and I thought that I dealt with that stuff. But doing Miss Africa, I realized that I'd walk into the room and look at the way other girls would be wearing heels or walking in heels, and I'm like, I can't do that, or like when it comes to the talent section, seeing other people dance, and seeing other people the way they would sing or do their spoken word, and I'm like, but is my talent even that good? Like, these people are doing really, really well. Like, I actually was very insecure. And so there even came a time when you know, I would read comments that people would leave on the photo shoot stuff, and one lady had mentioned something about, you know, the way we were doing our hair, and at that time I had a weave on, you know, and I was like, how about this weave, this my weave, you know. But the lady had said a comment about how, you know, we're not even representing Africa properly because, you know, look at our hair texture, like if we're trying to represent Africa we need to have natural hair, blah blah blah. And then I remember reading that and I got so discouraged. I remember I sat in front of my mirror and I was like, I'm cutting off my hair. And then I just thought to myself, really? Am I going to do this because something that someone has said? Like, I am more than that. And I literally had to go back to my Bible and I read Psalm 139 and how, you know, my frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in the secret place, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed circumstance. And I was just like, you know, my unformed substance. And I was just like, God, you know, that's what I should really be clinging to, your word, not what other people say about me. So I kept the weave. And then, then, you know, it came up to towards the night of Miss Africa, and I was like, you know, I went to the hairdressers. Shout out to Edith Hair Salon for hooking me up. And, you know, I saw an old school style that I really, really loved, and I will include that. You know, you'll see little snippets. I was like, this is the style I really want. So I got that style done, and then the morning of Miss Africa, I was sitting down and I was like, you know what, I just need to do my journal before the craziness of the day starts. I need to just have my quiet time with God and really get to that peace where, you know, I can go out and do whatever I need to do. And so I remember praying and I was like, you know what, God, I really want to win. But if you don't think that it's right for me to win, then it's okay. And I want to have peace no matter what happens. I just don't want to cry on the stage. Like, whoever wins, God, help me to be happy. And if it's me, then praise God. But if it's not me, let me still be grateful. At least I got to network, which was the whole reason why I joined Miss Africa. Rewind to purpose. So the whole reason I entered was I was like, I really want to network with people. Because of doing temples and interviewing inspirational people, I wanted to meet people who have done big things, you know, and ask them about their journey and how they got there. Because I'm all about storytelling and I just love sharing stories. And so I remember, you know, we were able to network with a lot of people like speech therapists and people that worked with like TV stations and all that stuff, and you meet them and hear their stories. Even Teresa, who does natural hair products, we're able to meet her and, you know, hear about her starting her own business, and it was just really inspiring. And so I was like, you know, we've already made so many networks. We even learned about like HIV and AIDS, and which was really good, especially as young women. I feel like, especially in our community, people don't want to address these kind of issues because they're like, no, but you know what, there's stuff we need to talk about. And so, you know, that was really good. And so I felt like I had gathered quite a few networks and those people that I could talk to should I want to interview them. And so that was really exciting. But then I was like, you know what, God, if I am to win, I do have a purpose to winning, and like I would definitely want to help the African Australian youth, because, you know, being born in Australia, I feel like we're sometimes a forgotten people. And, you know, people talk about Africans in Africa and people talk about, you know, Australians in Australia, but they forget that there are also African Australian people like me, you know, and kind of help them acknowledge and appreciate their identity, and then do better things, you know, for the community, do better things for themselves, which will then impact the community. And so, yeah, that was exciting. So then the night happened, and I remember, like, whenever I get excited or whenever I get nervous, I shake. You know, anybody who knows me, I'm just sitting there like, you know. And I remember on the night, like, I was so chill. I was walking around talking to other girls. We were just backstage. It was so good. Like, there was none of that cattiness or whatever. Everyone was helping each other, and it was really good sisterhood. And, you know, the night actually started and we were like, what, it's happening, like, oh my gosh, we got out, we did our dance, you know what I'm saying? And for those of you that also know me, I'm more of a singer than a dancer, but, you know, we got out there and we did that thing, and it was fun. And then afterwards, you know, we had to do our first catwalk, you know, so I had my moment. And, you know, was I nervous? Yes, but at the same time, when you get out there, there's that adrenaline rush, and you're just like, you know what, everybody's screaming, the music's on, I know I'm looking good, you know, you're confident in yourself, and so you just walk out and do your thing. And so I remember my shoe got caught on my dress, and I was like, oh my gosh, I messed up. But I mean, nobody noticed, and I look back in the video and even I can't tell at what point it happened, but I remember it happening. I went backstage and I was like, my shoe got stuck, but you know, you move on with life. And then it was the talent section, and I remember being so nervous because I'd been training with Eunice for a couple of weeks, you know, preparing my vocals and vocal warm-ups and, you know, and whatnot, trying to make sure my voice could reach the notes that I had made in this song. So I wrote this song, but I made it so difficult for myself to sing. Anyway, because that's part of life. And so Eunice had been helping me, and I kept trying to be like, don't stuff up when you get on that stage, just sing the song, remember the things she told you and all this stuff. And I remember getting out there and I was like, what do I do best? And I remember, talking, because I was backstage when I was handed the mic and they were setting up my keyboard, and I was like, I'm going to walk out, I'm just going to talk to the people, because anywhere I go, wherever we go to sing, wherever we go to minister or whatever, like I always, or before we start a song, we'd always talk to the people and say, you know what, this next song is about la 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 la. So
how are we all doing tonight? That's good. I'm really excited to perform this song for you. This is the first time that I've ever performed this song anywhere. So you guys get the exclusive. It's going to be exciting. But this song is titled The Star in the Struggle, and it's just an encouragement to anyone going through a dark time right now, because we all know stars shine at night. So they said yes, but you're upset. Results have come through. You don't know what to do, and you're alone, fingers shaking. That's the rhythm. Your heart is breaking. But wait, look up for a second. No street light is blazing, no sunshine to beckon. Behold, there's still something in the sky as it appears. Catch it with your eyes. It's a star, my dear, in the midst of the struggle. It's midnight, no street light. Your heart decides to tremble. Your legs, they decide to give away on your knees, thinking he still forgave me. Thank you, everyone.
I remember singing and I missed the chord and I was so nervous and my voice was shaking. But you know what? We got through the whole song. And I remember at the end, I was like, this is the last note you have. You better give this thing your all so you get back there with no regrets. So I did it, and afterwards I was like, you know what, we did it. We did it, God. And so I got backstage, and the final thing was the African attire. And so we had the Ugandan gomez that my grandma brought from Uganda, which was her own. It was actually hers. And so she came backstage with my brother, and they dressed me up and everything because I didn't know how to tie it. And I remember afterwards I was like, my grandma dressed me, I walked on that stage and I was like, you know what, this is me doing this for my younger self, who had to wear gomez on Harmony week. They tell you come to school in your traditional attire, and I'd go and I'd be so embarrassed. Like I was like, no one else is dressed like me. Like, what if they make fun of me? All this stuff. But here I am, years later, wearing a gomez on the stage, catwalking. So I was like, I'm doing this for my younger self, who needed or who wanted someone to look up to. And so yeah, that was really nice. And then came to the question time, and I was like, which question are they going to ask me? There's so many big questions about Africa that I feel like I don't know how to answer, and there's so many things that I'm just like stressed out about. But I was like, you know what, God, it's okay. And so I just stood up there, and I think I was one of the last people who got called out for the top 8. And so I was like, okay. And so they called my name, and they said, who inspires you? And I was like, thank you, Jesus. I was like, thank you, God. And then, I answered the question about my family and Elon Musk, and God, it just, after that, I was like, this is what I do best. Like, I just love to talk. Then after that, they told us go backstage, and as soon as we got backstage, we were just crying. Like, Daisy, shout out to you, because I couldn't look at her for most of the backstage, because whenever we looked at each other, we'd just start crying. And so she had to even fix my makeup, and it was just like, But it wasn't like sadness, it was tears of joy. Like, I can't believe we have made it this far together as a group, and even just as individuals, how much we've grown from our first rehearsal. I can surely say we were different people at the end of it than where we were at the beginning. And so they called us out. They're like, oh, Miss Personality and Miss Popularity. And I remember Miss Popularity was for Facebook likes, and so I was like, I ain't getting that because when they said, you know, Miss Popularity, and they called me out, they said, you know, Carla Siriga from Uganda, and I was like, what? Like, for me, I was satisfied at that point because I was like, you know, I really love journalism. I love networking people and asking people questions and, you know, just getting to know people, and to be able to have my peers vote for me that I am Miss Personality. I was like, you know, I'm happy. I'm quite happy with that. And so I remember getting that, and they got some flowers, and I was like, you know what, y'all, I'm literally like, I'm ready to go home because even if I don't win, this is enough for me. And then, you know, they called the runners up and second runner up and first runner up, and then like, and the winner is, and then, you know, they said my name, and I was just like, God, it's happening. And it's like all of a sudden everything just like, I don't know, the balloons, all this stuff, whatnot, and it was just like this big celebration. And then they played my song because I did a little catwalk, and I was about to come back, you know, to the stage, and then they played my song, and I just started dancing and, you know, singing, and that was nice. And I remember that night, you know, I didn't go to the after party. I went home and I just sat with my family, and I remember Rachel, my sister-in-law, came over as well, and I said to her, you know what, this is the project that I want to do. I've been meaning to ask you, but you know what, now that I've won, I want to let you know, will you be one of my guest speakers? I remember I asked her the night of Miss Africa, and she's like, yes. And I was like, all right, work begins today. And so, you know, I went home, I put up pictures, letting everyone know, you know what, guys, I won, thank you so much, shout out to all these people. And then the next morning, you know, had church, gave a little testimony, and then Monday I was like, it's time to start, you know, preparing myself, respond to all these messages, thank you guys. And then, you know, just begin the project, you know, this idea that I had from way before I started Miss Africa, you know, of just gathering people to share their stories about a time they reached rock bottom and how they have been able to get up from there. And so that's where the title, The Better Project, comes from. And it's literally about personal development and how we can encourage that, not only in just our community, but in us as human beings. I wanted to help Year 12 students, you know, who are trying to go to university. I wanted to help them to kind of lighten their load because, you know, I'm very vocal about my ATAR. It was 62.5, and I can say that with a smile on my face because I'm not ashamed of it anymore. And the whole aspect, I guess, of me just being able to get into uni was just a miracle in itself. So I'm like, how can I be ashamed of this story that I didn't create myself, if that makes sense? So I'm like, because this is God doing it, I gotta tell the story. And so yeah, so I just wanted to help kids because I know how hard it is when you're in year 12 and you're stressed out, and then on top of that you're trying to get this perfect ATAR and life's just not working out for you. And then, you know, you get your predictions back and people start telling you, you know what, I predict based on how your grades are looking now, you're probably going to get a 48. And that's the number I got for my prediction. And I remember thinking, what? You know, like, excuse me, 48. But then I got a 62.5. So even though I didn't get the 88 I was aiming for, I still beat the predictions. Can I get an amen? God works in mysterious ways, and things just happen according to his plan, even though we don't plan for them. So it was just, yeah, I think it's always been on my heart to kind of go back to people who are doing ATAR subjects and kind of help them, because I know how stressful it is. And so that's why I'm raising money to provide tutoring scholarships for Year 12 African Australian students. So basically I'm going to be working with the academic associates, and they're going to tutor the students for 10 hours, and that's valued at $300. So every $300 I raise, that's one scholarship for one student. And so yeah, I want to thank God because I had my fundraiser on Saturday the 21st of July, and we were able to raise 1,500. So that's 5 scholarships. So I'm so excited to be able to go out now to the schools, introduce myself to the students, be able to help those students and tutor them in the subjects that they're struggling with so that they can get the ATAR that they're aiming for. And if I can help them get one step closer to that, then that's what I'm going to do. So that's super exciting. That's my little journey from, you know, Temple Girl to Miss Africa Birth to the Better Project. And, you know, here we are today. So I'm so excited to, you know, be able to start this project now that we have the funds. And I'm just super stoked to be able to have networked with so many great people and, you know, my speakers to be able to share their stories. at my fundraiser, you know, and even Tash to be able to play her amazing set of songs, and Raymond, you know, to be my MC. It was just an amazing group of people to help me bring that vision to life, and all the people that came, it was like a full house, and it was just beautiful to turn around, like, because I was sitting down at the front and I turned around and I looked back and I was like, there's people in here that I don't even know, you know. Like, I remember when I first started Temples and I brought you know, I just tried to gather a whole group of girls, and I remember there was probably like 17 of us, and we sat in my church and we were just talking, you know, about singleness and relationships and identity and self-worth, and it was just a small number of us, and I remember me and Miranda were like the main speakers. But then now I was like looking back at it and I was like, I've come to a point now in my life where I can organize an event, speak for 2 minutes and have other people speak, you know, and that was big for me. So it was, and then turn around and see all the chairs filled, like that was a whole nother testimony in itself. So yeah, I guess this is just a video giving glory and honor to God and just thanking each and every one of you for your support. And you know, Temple's videos are gonna be back. I've got an interview planned up in August, so you know, look out for that. But thank you so much, guys, for your love and for your support and for your messages, and you know, we're back to work. There's my little life update. If you've got any questions, leave them below and I'd love to answer them. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video.